The Nissan Qashqai, N-Connecta, T-Dig Matthew. It's called something like that. It is essentially white goods. A car for the everyday person that isn't interested in cars, of course. It's even the correct colour for that. I genuinely parked it up at the motorway services, came back and almost tried to get in somebody else's car. That's how anonymous it is. And I've never done that before. I like cars enough to know what I'm looking at, but even this one caught me out. All of that aside, please stick with the video, because actually this car surprised me in a couple of ways. First of all, let's have a look at the car, which is, well, it's not really anything. First of all, let's just have a look at the car, because the car is, well, it is nothing really, is it? It's not offensive, but it's not handsome, it's not pretty, it's not ugly. It's just a car. I can't think of a car that's more just a car than this. Obviously, it looks bang up to date with its style, but it's style on a block of cheese. Yeah, it has lines. Yeah, it has a scoop. It looks like it has some sort of mask going on around the back. The rear lamps are quite good looking. It has this other scoopy bit here, which makes it look somewhat like a Lexus. Looking at this car closely, you can see lots of nice style features. The only thing is, it doesn't really make it look interesting. It's just an IKEA car. It's functional, it's white, and nobody ever is going to swoon over this and get all gooey-eyed. They're never going to do that thing where you walk away from it at the supermarket and look back and go, that's just not going to happen. In fact, what is going to happen is it's going to get parked in between cars, and within a few years it's going to be covered in dents everywhere. As just a new car, it's actually quite good. You don't need it to look good to be good. You don't need it to be interesting to be useful. You just need it to do its job, and you need it to do it safely and economically and without giving you any stress. In actual fact, the less you're bothered about looking around to see it and stuff like that, the less clingy you get to it, the less obsessed you become about this particular motor, the better in many ways, because most people aren't that f***ing bothered. It's quite a big car, whilst remaining quite a small car. Big on the inside, not particularly long on the outside. Let's do that again. Yet it only has a 1.3 litre engine with a turbocharger and a battery as well. So it's got engine, turbo, battery. Should be quite quick then, shouldn't it? Heavy car, small engine, turbocharger, making it small engine under lots of strain. Then a battery as well to help boost the power somewhat, adding another layer of things to go wrong in the future. Oh, what a pessimistic attitude I have. Why should it matter? Most people lease cars these days. They have them for 3 years and then they hand them back with scratches and scuffs that they have to pay for because they don't realise just how much they're being stung. So, something like the battery only going to be lasting 10 years or what have you, something like the engine suffering with timing chain issues and likely to be worn out before 100,000 miles, isn't something that you're likely to be that concerned by, is it? No. The majority of people watching this video now are not going to be interested in classic cars. They're going to be interested in a bit of consumer advice. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you that much of it. Well, I can confirm that the turning circle is actually quite good. So there we go. That is consumer advice. And when you park it up, cameras come on everywhere, so you've got absolutely no chance of crashing into things, unless you're looking where you're going rather than looking at the cameras. And that's it. Actually, it's not. This isn't particularly new, but this car has a thing where as long as you've got your key in your pocket, you can just press that button there and it'll open up for you. Meaning that you're saving you the trouble of having to press a button on here instead. You can simply depress the clutch and press the start button and it goes on, ready to drive. Inside we have quite a nice mix of materials, from shiny black plastic stuff to pretend leather with real stitching to nice dials. to a big screen right in front of me, telling me exactly where I am. And the instrument binnacle itself is multifunctional. Just down here, we have lane depart assist thingy, which I think is dangerous. Overall, the quality of all the materials is actually really very good. I'm impressed. I'm impressed by how sturdy it all feels. It's just a really rather nice place to sit. One little bugbear though, whilst you have plenty of room, bits of storage, big cubby hole there with 2-layer cubby hole, couple of cup holders, a big bin there to put your big drink of fluid to be decanted into the cups that you put in the cup holders. I find it frustrating. Why do they give you somewhere to put drinks but nowhere to put your key? So there's the key. Now what you would do is you just leave it in your pocket, which means it could slide out and fall down there somewhere, meaning that you can't find it afterwards. You could put it there, which is what I did yesterday, but it's still not right. To me, the key needs to be somewhere where the car won't work without it. What is the point in all of this stuff if the key can just be anywhere? That isn't convenient. Having your car stolen isn't convenient. Worrying about your car being stolen isn't convenient. Just a simple slot where unless you put the key into it, the car won't work. That's exactly what it should be. And I know it's not just this car, it's most of them, but why? There are no benefits to be had by not having that as a feature. Door shut sounds not that great, but the rear door, oddly enough, nice and soft. And speaking about being in the rear, the door opens up really nice and widely. There's plenty of room there, and there's plenty of room in here. And there's a USB port as well, which is also really rather important. Look, I do this wherever I travel. I have my mobile phone, I have my microphones. They all need charging, so that's good. Oh, there's a cup holder there as well, of course. Yeah, there's a switch there. Lift it up manually, and there we go. But does it come down with a button? No, it doesn't. How refreshing that you can just open up the boot and then use your arms to just put it back down again, like that. Although we have plenty of room in the back for passengers, we haven't really got plenty of room in the boot. And if you remove this parcel shelf, I would say this boot wouldn't really be big enough for a dog. It's not particularly deep, it's not particularly long, and it's not very wide either. But we have got we have got a way we can make it bigger. Right, so if you take these shelves out, then it is bigger, and it might be big enough to keep your dog in. Not keep it, but store it whilst you travel. It's very dark in here. It does make me wonder though. So you've got two shelves that you can remove, and then you've got to put them somewhere else. But why would you want to? Why? Who? Come on, right, let's figure this out. This boot is designed for the kind of person that will look at the boot and think, oh, it's a bit too deep, that. It's a bit too big. Can't we do something to make it smaller? I mean, it's not like the 1970s when they were building houses with only 7-foot ceilings to help lower the cost of heating the place. There's no benefit of that at all, is there, surely? Unless, of course, it is for lifting up heavy objects into the boot, where that's as far as you want to take it and not have to deal with the lip as well. Or for sitting on, like this, presumably you move the parcel shelf first. That could be it. But then, wouldn't it make more sense to just lower this, cut it into the bumper instead, like you'd have in a traditional estate car, so making loading easier? I am very keen on this screen though, and more, I'm keen on this camera. I do like it. As we can see here, that's behind me with this grid set out for the width of the car and telling me to ensure it's safe before manoeuvring, which I will do. I'll make sure there's no children running behind or anything. And then with all the cameras around, we have an aerial view of the car, which is really rather clever. And as I back this up here, there should be no excuse to hit anything. But let's put it to the test anyway. There's parking sensors as well. So that's probably as close as you want it. Well, that's quite a long way off the wall, to be honest. it's a lot further off than what it would be if I was backing up a car that I could see out the back of and I could just use my eyes to see how far it was going. So, good and bad, but theoretically, it does mean that you should not ever need to crash into anything ever again.
Turn right after 300 yards.
Personally, I find it just a little bit skitty. The steering is just so light that if you're not careful, you end up wanting to drive into the oncoming traffic, which might explain why cars like this these days need so many passive safety devices. It has lane departure warning, which I've switched off because I daren't have it on, I daren't have that on. Just too afraid of the things it might do should it believe I'm drifting across the lane without indicating. Do you indicate every time you go from one lane to another? No, you shouldn't do. It shouldn't be a habit thing. It should be one of those things that you do should you need to do. Paying attention to the conditions, reading the road. Once you start just doing things automatically, you're not thinking. Having said that, it is quite easy to place on the road. It's quite it's a wide car, as most modern cars actually are, and your visibility isn't really that great anywhere. Out the front, you can't really see the corner of the car. Out the back, just one big massive blind spot. You've got a camera there that shows you what's out the back. Not only what's out the back, but what's all around you. There's a display there that shows you exactly where you are in relation to everything else. That's cool. I mean, it'll probably break at some point, but for the moment, this car is only a couple of years old. I don't need to worry about it. Now, because yesterday I drove this car 276 miles back to Rochdale from Southampton, I got to find out really how it drives on a long distance and some of its features. And I can tell you it's got cruise control. I think it's radar guided cruise control. It's also got a speed limiter, which in all honesty I think is a bit more useful. Although it's only a 1.3 litre engine, it is turbocharged and it is a hybrid. So it's got a fair bit of 138 brake horsepower, and that does pick up whilst you're not looking on the motorway. So given the amount of roadworks where you're down to 50 miles per hour everywhere, the speed limiter is actually quite a useful thing, and it works quite nicely actually. Almost everything seems to be pretty much in the correct kind of place. The big display there is good with the sat-nav. It's multi-functions. I did actually find the sat-nav quite useful, although from time to time it did keep flinging up these other messages that took me away from the sat-nav and created a distraction. It has automatic lights, which of course is kind of necessary. That goes hand in hand with modern driving, where people need things doing for them rather than thinking to do them themselves. And back on this lane departure thingy, what I did notice, coming back there's some heavy rain, and it kept flashing up on the dashboard about this symbol. I didn't know what it was at first, and I haven't read the handbook before I started driving it. Don't know what that was. Telling me that it wasn't working, I think. It wasn't working because of all the standing water. And of course it wouldn't do, would it? Because all that water doesn't give the camera a clear view of where these lines actually are. But whilst it's raining, that's actually when it would be more useful, because you can't see it yourself. But by the time you've got into this habit of not looking out for them yourself, you go on a rainy road like that, you're not going to have a clue what you're doing. The gear change is naturally very easy, but the clutch is heavier than you'd expect. I wouldn't say the clutch is heavy, but in comparison to the steering, it feels like it should be quite a bit lighter. Once you come to a standstill, you can just put the camera on, and it will stay on until you get to about 5 miles per hour. Is that a useful thing? I don't know if it's useful, but I like it. It makes being stuck in traffic more interesting than what it normally would be. You sure it's safe before manoeuvring, it says. That's interesting. Wouldn't have done that otherwise. It goes nicely, it really does. It really is quite impressive. It just seems to handle quite nicely. So if you're a modern driver, a modern person, etc., you're going to like this car. It's going to do all the right things. It's going to be the kind of car that you're used to, the kind of car that you can live with. And then when you get in an old car like what I have, or like many of us have, you're going to think, oh, this is horrid, and creaky and clunky, and the steering's too heavy, and you can see too much out the windows. You come to stop on a slope, put your foot on the brake, put your foot off the brake, and it keeps it there. Another, well, safety device. What about speed humps? I mean, most people drive around over speed humps and they don't even bother slowing down. I always find that just a bit annoying. So, in conclusion, this is a good car for what it is. If you like cars like this, buy one. It's good. If you don't like cars like this, don't bother because you'll find it annoying. Thank you for watching and bye-bye. A couple of other things actually. This handbrake thing did leave me wondering whether the handbrake was on or not after I'd switched it off last night. Parked it up on a slope. Handbrake on, obviously. But I put it into gear anyway, and I turned the wheels towards the wall, just in case.
I had about another 10 minutes worth of footage of this car whilst driving it, but unfortunately my microphone was way too close to my voice box and it sounded hideous. So naturally I won't be including that in the video, even though some of it was quite important.
I think the reason they do that is because they look at the car as being some sort of expendable commodity. They're not going to keep it for that long, so they don't really worry about knackering up the suspension. And they look at your car, which is old, which is going to be more vulnerable for knackering up the suspension, and think, what are you slowing down for? It's only an old thing. Why are you bothered? Having said that, I mean, I went over that at 15 miles per hour, and it wasn't pleasant. That was really, really unpleasant. That's faster than I normally would do. The truth is, speed humps are they're just not very good.